DeepMind's AlphaEvolve just changed scientific discovery forever. Let's dive into the latest launches as of today from Google DeepMind and dive right into the paper, diving into everything that they've got, and let's find out what it's just done. So I've taken some time reviewing the paper, and honestly, some of the discoveries are insane. Now, we just preface that every day there is something insane going on in the world of AI and automation and the way that it's changing not only our lives and businesses and day-to-day activities. When I was going through this document, I've got a few notes here. What I've noticed is that the AlphaEvolve is a AI coding agent that autonomously goes through and sort of discovers and evolves new algorithms. And through this process, it's sort of gone through and being able to do what they're saying, like biological evolution. So essentially just being able to have a massive growth in the space, in the science category. And currently, based on what is outlined in this paper here, is it's beat a state of the art on 14 matrix, which is basically super fancy detailed math, right? That I couldn't do. And it's in-depth multiplication problems, including on Stratison's algorithm. So let me reopen this up. I'm looking for the Stratison. Yes, over Stratison's algorithm. So it's beaten this record, and people have been trying to solve this for over 56 years, and it's just done it. So it's insane to see how AI is evolving and adapting and changing and generating its own algorithms to solve problems that we've been looking to get solutions to for years. So when it discovered a new mathematical sort of constructions that surpassed humans' ability to sort of build on it ourselves on over 20% of all the math problems that it's been given. So it's found new discoveries and new ways of solving these problems that we've yet to be able to solve until we've brought it into the ecosystem. So it's insane. And then as I was looking through this let's see here. I've seen some insane stuff, right? Like be able to make novel discoveries on its own hypothesis, exploration, backtracking, and looking at its own hypothesis, experimenting it, and then validating its hypothesis and iterating on that. And that's what that really meaning is. It's able to go through the full scientific life cycle through its own access to knowledge and information and do so autonomously and progressively and iteratively improve what we're doing, how we're doing it when it comes to the world of science. Now, if it's doing it there in science, I can only imagine what it's going to be able to do in all other aspects. But I have to say, this is just insane, and I wanted to go through and share it. So really, let's take a second and try to think through, why does this actually matter, right? I mean, it's probably pretty apparent, right? But what this really means with AI is that it moves AI just from sort of like answering our questions passively to actively going out and discovering new information, new knowledge, and providing us with new information that we've yet to have unlocked. And sort of starting to bridge the gap between what we call coding large language models or coding LLMs to truly something that's on the edge of scientific innovation, right? And this means a lot for a lot of other areas, because if it can do it in the scientific category, it should be able to do it really well in other categories as well, iterating, understanding your business or your processes, or helping through, civil issues, right? Or population density pieces to work through how to magic up like a better way to build cities for improved lifestyle and living, right? I'm just going down random rabbit holes, right? But what this really means is it could massively, though, accelerate our ability to do research at an efficient rate at insane speeds compared to today, and automate our infrastructure, further optimization, and then even go into designing how future AIs should be built and developed so that they are doing even better than the one that's currently out, right? Which is just so crazy to think that AI is going to be able to iteratively improve itself and make improvements on new AI, so that way the new AI, the new version of it, is so much better, right? Because it has access to knowledge and information and can make correlations in ways we just can't put together. Or at least I can't put together. I am not in that level of the realm, right? Let's just be honest, right? A lot of us are going to have a hard time trying to piece two and two together, as we're not sitting here building out these large language models to the depth that these guys are, right? So some of the real world wins that it sort of called out as we were going through this is the clear math breakthrough. So its ability to just understand complex problems and try to solve things that we've not been able to solve for years, which is so important, because if you can make scientific discoveries, you can make massive impacts on everybody's lives, not just one sector. And then also this thing called CPU design, right? So identifying ways to improve the overall optimization of our circuitry, of our design, and improvement of chips. Now, why is that important? Well, chips are the vital resource that's really on the aspect of compute. Like, we need to be able to compute and, process information efficiently. And one of the biggest limitations that AI and automation currently have is our speed at which we can compute in the efficiency of that compute, right? So as you know, NVIDIA has been blowing up, right, over the last few years, especially due to its high performance graphics cards, right? They're like, the latest one right now is like $20-something thousand, right? And it's optimized for AI. But even then, our current chips aren't 100% as optimized as they could be for the world of AI. But the reason this is important is AI uses our chips much differently than you and I would use them for watching a video or playing a video game, right? It's a hyper efficient computer, and it needs different layouts, different formatting for it to be even more efficient for artificial intelligence use. So having something like this that can understand the design and work through to make these better, it's just going to be insane as we go through and make further advancements in technology. So it also went through and started to make a bunch of implementations in resources optimization for the Google ecosystem. And what that should result in is billions of dollars positively impacting, right, how much it costs for us to do resource allocation, right? So let me just re-clarify in a different way. It costs billions and billions of dollars to manage these large language models through these massive organizations, and resources and the ability to compute are arguably two of the bigger problems that we're dealing with, right, in terms of further innovation. And having something like this that is able to look at things deeper and provide its own input and knowledge and clarity and provide its own ideas is going to have a big impact on our ability to properly improve the efficiency and optimization of compute and how we're managing our resources, right? So that we can do things more effectively without having to go and get more energy, which is so important. So how does this sort of work? Right? It's got a sort of a visual here. What does it do? So it goes through and it's sort of combining two sort of key structures, which is Gemini 2.0, right? Google's LLM, and Flash, which is a secondary system. And what this does is it sort of helps to do code annotation, so breaking things out, right? Breaking out text and deep layers of compute. How do I say this? Not compute, but I'm trying to think of how to explain this more simply. It's helping to understand in-depth problems very efficiently, and then simplifying it, iterating on it, and then providing input and information on what is going on, how is it going on, its own ideas and beliefs, if we say it in that way, and then tests those ideas and beliefs, and then provides validations or invalidations of, hey, my idea was wrong, or hey, it was good, and here is how and why, right? Which is insane. It takes us forever to go through and do that. And so here it is. Alpha is a coding agent that orchestrates an autonomous pipeline of computations, including queries to LLMs, produces algorithms that addresses a user's specified task. At a high level, the orchestrating procedure is a revolutionary algorithm that gradually develops programs to improve the score on the automated evaluation metrics associated with the task. Let's just overly simplify it. I own a farm. I want to be able to farm more efficiently. You give it all the information about your farm, what you have, the tools that you've got available, where you live, the weather patterns, all of this stuff. And it's able to look at that and start to go and have a conversation with itself and to understand the problems that you're facing or problems that you don't know you're dealing with and work through creating a solution or potential solutions that are better, potentially, than what it is that you're currently doing. And then you're able to bring it into the real world after it's already done the virtual hypotheses and testings and actually see it happening. And that's insane because currently a lot of us, or a lot of the ways people are using AI is like, hey, here's all my information. Help me solve this problem, right? In a very simple sense. And it's a lot of back and forth, a lot of interaction with large language models. Whereas this is, here's the task, AI agent, go through and solve it for me, right? And it just goes and does the interaction itself, is from at least how they've communicated it, and solves problems by itself. And that's something we've just not seen before. Now, I'm really curious to seeing what this is going to do over the following few months, few years, and the other discoveries that it's going to allow us to have. I'm really excited to sort of see how it shifts other areas of our ecosystem. Because currently, if you think about it, a platform like this, so AlphaEvolve, it's not just like another AI tool, right? It's sort of like a potentially a glimpse into the future of how AI is sort of actively discovering what's going on around it and us, helping us to solve problems on another level than we've ever been able to do. And it's doing more than just assisting us, right? Even better, it's got a GitHub Copilot, which means it's on GitHub for people to access and interact with. And so it's already helping to solve problems that we've been dealing with as humans for years and years and years. And it's doing so really quickly. And we have had like the most foremost experts going through and trying to solve these problems. And AI is just like, yep, I'm in your corner. I'm helping you out. Here's the answer, right? That is insane. Now, look, this is a big doc. Okay, there's so much in here. I'm really just trying to highlight the key pieces here, because I'm gonna have a link to this document, by the way, down below, for you to really dive into. But it goes through the different problems that it was dealing with and some of the values and the advantages that you're getting with this. Again, right? This here, it can be rapidly deployed across a diverse range of mathematical construction problems and conjectures, often requiring less initial problem-specific tailoring compared to traditional approaches. Meaning we don't have to give it as much information, and it still does what we want, which is insane. The amount of work, first off, that it takes for someone to even get to the level that AI is at, and then be able to go and have your own level of independent processing and thinking, and being able to sit there and have good focused time on something. And the fact that AI can just sit there and do that with little to no distraction and just go is something that we as humans are just unable to do. And because of that, we're going to have extreme advancements. Look, I don't even know the level that it's going to do for us, but I can tell you one thing. It's going to make waves in how we're using AI, how AI impacts our day-to-day life. And it's something you really want to keep in mind of. Look, This video isn't so much about how does it solve your magical business problems, right? Or our business problems. But it's important to understand the downstream impacts that we're going to start seeing in the advancements we're going to start seeing because AI is a part of our lives now, and the pros and cons of it being a part of it. So I would love for you guys to look at this yourself, honestly, outside of just this video, because I almost feel like it's so in depth that in some aspects I just don't do it justice. Because there's so much going on in there. I gave myself about an hour to look at this prior. So there's a lot to digest. Love for your comments. I'd love for your input. I'd love for your feedback on really what's going on here. But look, you got to check out this Google Alpha. Keep an eye on all the cool things that are going on here. If you want access to more stuff like this, feel free to subscribe. I look forward to seeing another video. See you guys later. Bye.